It's not flashy, it's not modern, but it just keeps coming and coming and coming. Missiles, more missiles, lasers, big lasers, lots and lots of them. It was so common in the inner sphere ever since even the inception of the Star League that many pilots lost their fear of it because they just saw it too much. It has one very specific peculiarity compared to all other mechs, in that it has so much firepower that it can blow itself up with a single alpha strike. Some variants can generate more than 50 heat, and as it only has 20 heat sinks in its standard form, will take 30 heat in one round. Needless to say, you're not really meant to use all its weapons all the time. You just pick the ones that have the highest probability of hitting and use those, and just only use those, and you will still do massive damage to any opponent. It's also very slow and very heavily armored, so it's kind of like the centerpiece front attack unit. If you want to like conquer some region of the map, you would send a Stalker there. So let's start looking at the original book. Find the Stalker in here. Flipping through as much artwork as possible just to look at the old goodies. Going a little too fast here. We're getting close. It should be here somewhere here. Too far. Here it is, yeah. Right after the Battle Master. 85 tons. It's got a lot of armor. It's rear center torso can take a PPC, no problem. Not even go internal. And of course, when the clans were invented, the Stalker had to get a bit of an upgrade. So we can look through here. This is the 3050 TRO. And I think it's like way in the back because the clans are first. And a couple extra mechs had shown up. There it is. This one looks like it's the 5M. And here you can see like the history and some of the historical battles according to the original TRO 3025. There's a little bit of kind of flavor. So Battletech is the history of the future of warfare. But the TRO 3025 is now kind of historical in our world. So this is the historical history of the future. And the 5M, its main features are just it's got the NARC beacon. That's probably its main feature. Other than that, it's just the kind of a double heat sink, so it's almost able to fire most of its weapons. Still not all though, because it's still got too much heat from all its weapons. So even with double heat sinks, it still can't maintain a full barrage. You still have to pick and choose. In the flavor text for the TRO 3050, the 5M is done and ready to go, but the 5S is not ready. It doesn't exist yet, or it's under works, or under design, or something like that. Now there's a lot of variants of the Stalker, so I'm going to just talk through a bunch of the kind of earlier to mid Battletech universe era ones, and then go through their performance. So the Stalker 3F is the standard Stalker. That is, it's the 2 LRM-10s, a bunch of heat sinks, 20 heat sinks, 2 large lasers, 4 medium lasers. Oh, and if that's not enough for you, then it's also got some SRM-6s too. This means it's got a lot of ammo and a lot of crit slots that'll blow it up, but it's got a lot of armor, so it's hard to get through. It's also notable in that it was a mech that was made for the Star League, for the Reunification Wars era. That is, when after the Star League had been formed but hadn't quite gotten full control over everything. The FB variant is the Royal, like House Cameron Star League version. This one's got all the endo steel and all the advanced tech in it. However, it went extinct in the First Succession War because of the loss of the Guardian ECM and many other components that it had. And also, it featured in the Star League / Ameris Civil War. The FK version is a Star League era Draconis Combine 4th Sword of Light variant. It's got double heat sinks, Artemis 4 on the LRMs, and it's got SSRM2s, many of which went obsolete or went extinct during the various wars. However, it only existed during the Star League Ameris Civil War era and the Star League era, because the 4th Sword of Light was destroyed in 2785, although it was reconstructed later. So this mech is presumed extinct in 2785. The 3H variant is the 2638 Siege version that basically upgrades the LRM-10s to LRM-20s by getting rid of the large lasers as well. And it existed during the Star League Ameris Civil War era. And in theory, it never really went extinct, so you could play it in any era all the way to the Dark Age. The 4N is a technology downgrade version of the Stalker that came about in the Third Succession War, and it never went extinct, so you can play it all the way from the Third Succession War to the Dark Age. It gives up one of its LRM-10s, but adds a couple extra heat sinks, and the Stalker's firepower is limited by its heat sinks, so it's good. Otherwise, it's pretty much a solid Stalker. Now, you may find sheets for it that have less armor because it actually, the original mech sheets for it are obsolete and had to be revised later. The 4P is another downgrade from the Third Succession War, except this time the actual armament was reduced by getting rid of one of the LRM-10s. Also, the 4N had the same story, but the mech chassis has actually been reduced to a 75-ton mech, which is still considered a Stalker, even though it's like a lower mass and plays with lower mass rules. The theory behind this is that the Stalker chassis from several hundred years earlier were now crumbling and couldn't be repaired anymore as well, so the load had to be lightened. The 5M is a recovered lost tech from the Helm Memory Core upgrade in the 3050 era, built for House Merrick. It's got an ER large laser, NARC, double heat sinks, and a variety of other goodies. And it's basically didn't go extinct, so it's good from 3050 all the way to the Dark Age. The 5S Stalker has an XL engine and large pulse lasers and an AMS and case, which the 5M forgot to include. So the 5M did not have case. However, the 5S has very poor heat management, but it also does not go extinct, so it's from 3050 onward. The 6M is an upgrade to the 5M in the year 3062. Gets rid of the SRMs and the NARC and goes from goes to LRM-15s with Artemis 4 and 3 tons each, so it can really just bombard for a long time, and the lasers all become ER with an extra medium ER, and there's case. The 7D is a FedCom Civil War era and onward version for the Federated Suns. It's got ER PPCs, medium pulse lasers, streak SRM4s, and a targeting computer for all its major weaponry. The 3F JAG is Jagawen Torisobo's 3028 version of the mech that was used in the Battle of Misery against the Wolf's Dragoons. This is where Torisobo ended up losing his mech and then finally being forced to commit seppuku. Now, there is a significant range of win rates from the 64% range all the way down to the 39% and even 35% range. However, surprisingly enough, the win rates as a function of battle value are very flat, except the Stalker 5M variant has a slight advantage. But if you look at the tonnage win rates and the C-bill win rates, the Stalker 3FB, that is the Royal variant if you're in the right era, or the Stalker 6M if you're in the right era, have the best performance. And if you don't have any of the luxuries of those particular eras, then the 3H is a pretty good one for its win rate, given that it's era friendly. Now, maybe I'm imagining it, or maybe I see a pattern, but it looks like giving up on long-range weapons is a bad move for the Stalker, maybe because it's really slow. So maybe holding on to the LRMs and even upgrading them to LRM 15s or 20s is a good move. I have just one last set of words of wisdom regarding the Stalker. First, just imagine yourself in the Battletech universe as a pilot. Imagine your terror as you realized you were about to be killed by a giant metal schlong that you could have easily outrun had you chosen to do so.